the most influential films in history.
Avatar,
The Graduate,
The Sound of Music,
The Wizard of Oz,
The Imitation Game,
Forrest Gump,
The Boy in the Striped Pajamas.
The Birth of a Nation.
The movie Avatar by James Cameron is about a paraplegic who creates a world in which he can walk and be someone different. He makes connections in Pandora and falls in love with his fake world. Avatar was an influential film because it was one of the first movies to use special effects behind the scenes. Avatar used a number of special effects that had never been used before in order to create exactly what the director wanted.
The Graduate was produced by Lawrence Truman in 1967. During the late 60s, there was a group of people commonly known as hippies. You know, the guys who were all about love and peace and living life as it came at you. This movie, The Graduate, is about a young boy named Benjamin Braddock who just graduated from college. Elders tell Benjamin, "You're an adult now, Benjamin, so what are you going to do?" Throughout the film, Benjamin is always wondering what he's going to do next. Ben meets Elaine and falls in love with her. For once, he realizes that it's okay to not know what you're going to do and that you shouldn't waste your time trying to figure it out. They eventually run off together. This movie showed all the elders in the 60s that the hippies weren't just wasting time getting high and protesting war. Just like Benjamin, they were young and lost and confused. They didn't know what their future was going to be like. All they knew was that they wanted to live their life in the present. The Sound of Music was released on film in 1965. This classic tale is about a woman named Maria who becomes a governess for the 7 children of the Von Trapp family. The father of the Von Trapp family is a Navy captain named George. Throughout the film, Maria shows the children love, kindness, fun, and of course, music. By the end of the film, George and Maria fall in love, but must take their family and flee Austria in order to avoid being drafted in the war. This film was a hit in the 60s because it is based on a true story of a family who had to flee their home and avoid the war.
The famous story of The Wizard of Oz is well known among all ages. A girl named Dorothy falls from a tornado and travels down a yellow brick road with a scarecrow, a tin man, and a cowardly lion to meet a great wizard named Oz. All the characters have a request for the wizard, but when they arrive in Emerald City, they find the wizard is a phony. The scarecrow represents farmers, the tin man represents industrial workers, and the cowardly lion represents William Jennings Bryan, a Democratic and populist presidential candidate. There are many representations of money throughout the film, including the yellow brick road and the Emerald City. This movie represents the economy of the populist era.
The Imitation Game is a more recent film that reenacts the British decoding of the Enigma codes. This was the greatest advancement that occurred during World War II. The German forces had created Enigma, the most advanced equipment for sending messages in code to ships and other headquarters throughout the war. Up until this point in time, there had never been a system of codes so advanced that many said it could never be solved. In this film, Alan Turing and his fellow workers cracked the unbreakable Nazi code, the greatest advancement in World War II. Solving Enigma was one of the most important developments that led to the Allied victory. Throughout the film, Forrest Gump tells his life story from childhood to adulthood, but his story does not only tell of his life, but it tells of the story of some of the most influential moments throughout history. He talks about bullying, the Civil Rights Movement, the Vietnam War, the moon landing, the Little Rock Nine, and several presidential assassinations. This movie is not only a great film to watch, but has great historical references that portray the time period of the new up-and-coming American culture.
The Boy in the Striped Pajamas is a movie about 2 boys from completely different backgrounds who meet and become best friends. One of the boys, Bruno, is the son of a Nazi general, and the other is inside one of the concentration camps. The boys find ways to hang out with each other despite their differences. This movie brought to life the reality of the concentration camps and the cruelty of the Nazis. It also showed the innocence of children during the time.
The Birth of a Nation, directed by D.W. Griffith, is a 3-hour film originally split into 2 sections that portrayed life in the Reconstruction era. The first section was set during the Civil War, and it follows 2 juxtaposed families, one of abolitionists and the other of Southerners. It showed scenes of fighting that were breathtaking and unbelievable to audiences in 1915 and beyond. The second half tells the story of a black man named Lynch who creates a black militia, and in turn, a white man named Ben creates the KKK, who are both later found to be heroic. The film appealed to the Ku Klux Klan and many Southerners as it depicted racist ideals and demonized blacks. Even at the time of its release, the film sparked controversy, as some saw the truth in the story, whereas others found it offensive and wrong. To this day, the film is an accurate representation of some of the ideals of the Reconstruction era.